everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into a big question. Why did Jesus show up exactly when he did? I mean, he could have done it 500 years earlier or 2,000 years later maybe. Was 0 just a random pick, or was there something perfect about that moment in history? Spoiler is, it was no accident. Let's break it down why Jesus' arrival was timed like a divine Swiss watch. Buckle up, because we're going to be going through history, culture, and theology in just about 10 minutes. Alright, so let's set the stage. It's 0 BC, the world is under the Roman Empire's grip, Rome's running the show, and it's a wild time to be alive. Why does this matter? Well, 3 big reasons: peace, connectivity, and language. First, the Pax Romana, that's Latin for Roman peace. For the first time in centuries, the Mediterranean world wasn't a total war zone. Rome crushed most of its enemies, and the people could travel without getting ambushed every 5 minutes. This stability meant that Jesus' message could spread without being drowned by constant chaos. Second, Roman infrastructure. These guys were engineering nerds. They built roads, amazing roads, and connected cities like Jerusalem to Rome to Alexandria. They had ships crisscrossing the Mediterranean like it was their personal highway. This made it easy for Jesus' disciples to travel and spread the gospel far and wide. Third was the language. Thanks to Alexander the Great's conquest a few centuries later, Greek was the universal language of the day. Merchants, scholars, and even random farmers could understand Greek. The New Testament, well, it was written in Greek. That's no coincidence. It meant anyone, anywhere in the empire could read and hear Jesus' teachings. Now let's zoom in to the Jewish people. They were ready for a Messiah, not just spiritually, but historically. For centuries, they'd been through the ringer. Conquered by Babylon, Persia, Greece, and now Rome. They were desperate for God's promised deliverer. The Old Testament prophets like Isaiah and Daniel had been hyping up the Messiah for ages. By Jesus' time, Jewish expectation was at a fever pitch. Groups like the Pharisees were debating what the Messiah would be like. Some thought a warrior, king, and some just thought he'd be a spiritual leader. Jesus steps in and flips all their expectations, but the point is, the stage was set. People were looking for him. Here's another wild card: the Jewish diaspora. Because of exile, Jews were scattered all throughout the empire. Little pockets of monotheism surrounded by pagan chaos. These synagogues were like starter homes for the gospel. Paul rolls into the city, finds a synagogue, and preaches the gospel to people who already believe in one God and know the prophecies. Boom, converts. Plus, the Jewish religious life was centralized. The Second Temple in Jerusalem was the heart of worship. The Jews from all over the world could come to festivals like Passover, when Jesus taught in the temple and performed miracles. It wasn't just a local event, it went viral because people from everywhere were there to witness it. Speaking of prophecies, let's talk about Psalm 22. This was written by King David like 1,000 years before Jesus. This psalm was wildly specific about the crucifixion, way before the crucifixion was even a thing. It starts with, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Sound familiar? Jesus quotes this on the cross in Matthew 27:46. But it gets even crazier. Psalm 22 describes a guy surrounded by enemies, mocked with his hands and feet pierced. That's verse 16. It even mentions his bones being out of joint and people gambling for his clothes, which happens in John 19:24, when soldiers cast lots for Jesus' robe. This wasn't just poetic, it was a blueprint for what Jesus would go through. By the time Jesus arrived, the Jewish people knew these scriptures inside and out. So when he fulfilled them, it was like God shouting, "This is our guy." Okay, let's talk about the spiritual vibe of the time. The Roman world was a spiritual buffet. Pagan gods, mystery religions, philosophy, you name it. People were searching for meaning, but there was nothing sticking. Greek philosophy like Stoicism was cool for intellectuals, but it left most people feeling empty. Pagan gods, they were just superheroes with bad attitudes. Nobody really trusted them to care about humanity. Now enter Judaism. The Jewish belief in one God who actually cared about his people was radical. It was already spreading through God-fearers, Gentiles who liked Jewish ideas but didn't fully convert. When Jesus came, his message of love, forgiveness, and personal relationship with God was like a spiritual lightning bolt. It built on Judaism's foundation but opened the door to everyone. Now let's get theological. Galatians 4:4 says, "When the fullness of time had come, God sent forth his Son." Fullness of time? This isn't just poetic, it means that God's plan was perfectly timed. Think about it. God made promises to Abraham, gave the law to Moses, spoke next to the prophets like David in Psalm 22. All of it was just building towards Jesus. You see, if Jesus came too early, the world wouldn't have been ready. No Roman roads, no Greek language, and no Jewish expectation. No fulfilled prophecies like Psalm 22, no synagogues in every city. The momentum of the Jewish hope or the Roman infrastructure might have faded. God waited until every piece was in place: the prophecies, the culture, the roads, the language, the spiritual hunger. It's like God was setting up a cosmic chessboard. Jesus was the checkmate. So why did Jesus come at the perfect time? Because God orchestrated history to make that moment the ultimate launch pad for his message. The Roman Empire's peace, the roads, the Greek language, the Jewish expectation, prophecies like Psalm 22, the Jewish diaspora, the spiritual hunger, it all lined up like stars in the sky. Jesus' arrival wasn't random, it was the climax of God's plan to reach the world. I'm Caleb. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe for more theological content. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments, and God bless you all.